what is happening in our communities today, me and you don't need the government to come from up there to come and solve those issues. With the little exposure, with the little education that we have acquired over time, we'll go a long way to talk to one person who has similar ideas, who have like minds as you are, to do what? To bring about the needed change that is required. It is said that the change begins with me and you. Be the change that you truly want to see. We're talking about corruption, which has also eaten deep into the fabric of our systems. One thing me and you don't want most of the time is those leaders that will tell you the truth and also make you go through the right channel or right processes in achieving the right thing or that is desired, even for me and you. I think I'm a leader in my office. I'm also the union leader of my organization, and I know what I go through on a daily basis. I get people who come, staffs. Yes, it's their money that they pay into our account or association most of the times. But I get this attitude of, why are you not spending that money? Every person who visits my office, I should either give that person 1,000, 2,000 or so, instead of using that particular resources to do what? To build the association and even to the benefit of the members of that particular association. We need that everyone grows and be a support system even to the community. Time without number, we have to travel from here to our communities to see how we can feel a need, and even in the surroundings that we live in. It is very important that we understand this fact that nobody from another country, from another community will come and also develop our own communities for us. We have to start that, and you will discover that a lot more other persons will key in and make it what we desire of it. How many of us are ready to make that same mistake we have been making over time in terms of choice of leadership as well? We are all potential leaders, whether you like it or not. But what sort of leader do you want to be? In a country as ours, blessed with various mineral resources and even manpower. Anywhere you go to in the world, you discover that you find Nigerians there and they're doing very, very well. Some of them are even willing to come back to this country. But because the environment and the system is toxic, they're finding it very, very difficult to also come back and give back. But nevertheless, a lot more of them are willing to sacrifice their time and even their lives to the cause of the Nigerian system. So it is very key that we have it at the back of our knowledge that there's a problem we need to solve as a people, as youths growing up in this country and in the society that we find ourselves today. You discover that with education, you are a step ahead of your colleagues or peers, whether you like it or not. If I had given up earlier in life, it's possible that I wouldn't be here standing before you to do what? To also share in my own view about community development and leadership. Community development is a concerted effort, a deliberate one for that matter. And that is why KELIC has continued. This is not their first, this is not their second, and hopefully this will not be their last in also impacting on us.
Smart in what we're not just academics. Thank God for KELIC. This floor that they've given us to come and showcase who we are, how we can research, how we can be better is a very good ground. We don't have this opportunity in school. Though private schools are doing it, but not all schools are doing it. Public school is very hard. Maybe it's only during debate, and they only pick few people that will represent the whole hundreds of students. So this opportunity, because these are part of the things that they look out for. How well can you relate to your audience, your public speaking skills, and there are other skills that you need to have to outside school. What are they? When I mentioned some, like to the point of cooking, it's important. Because some people, they will just ask you, what do you like to do? It's not just that you're going there to, you need to be able to add value to people. And most of these schools, they have cultural needs because they are coming from every part of the world. And you can't expect them, you're coming from Nigeria and you claim to be a Nigerian. And then you cannot even, they ask you what can you do, it's Indomie, you can do it's Indomie, or very smart. That's why at this level where you are very smart, add to your academics. Don't just sit at home and add all A's and then what else can, because this thing is not just you. Other schools, other countries, when they are building people, they do entrepreneurship, they do a lot of things. This public speaking we are doing here, they do skill building and all that. And all these add up to what they use when they come out for interview. You will see some people, they will actually get to the point of interview or visa application before they are cut off. Because of maybe you get there, you are asked question and then the way you are answering the question, you will just say this one. Once you jackpot, you will just carry your paper somewhere. But all these are very important that you are learning them by day by day. What skill do you have? I'm all A students, straight A's. Fine, it's very good. But when you are competing with others, it's not just straight A's they are looking at. They are looking at the skills and the values you can add to others. In your class, how interactive are you? I can see here that you ask questions, you talk and all that. This is it's part of it. There was a time I did an online course and one of the things that they want is class participation. And it's very important. You can be a lone ranger in your own way that I like to study on my own. But it's very good that you mingle with people. You can't just be yourself. You can't just say, I am me, then I want to be me. Nigeria, we know how to do, it is my thing. And you cover your book. Nobody says open your book for anyone, but share your knowledge with other people. Those are the kind of things that they are looking at. 101% zeal, energy into it. Write as much as you can, let them scrutinize it, go through it, because it's actually easy to pass. It's actually very easy to pass, but it depends on how well you practice. At the end of the day, you realize that because the aspect I passed well was one I practiced the most, and that was listening. When he sent me the listening papers and all, and I practiced, and I realized that some of the questions were repeated. So that is it about this exam. But if you don't know, what you don't know, you don't know. If I didn't do that well, I wouldn't know that this is actually good. I was thinking, they said, IELTS is difficult. My mind said, but I said, okay, let me start, sit down and do this one that I think I can hear. And I did it. When I came, I told him something that I'm a Yoruba girl. And Yoruba, we don't really hear English very well. As in, we don't hear all this fast English. So when they said I have to listen to American people, I knew that was a challenge. So that was why I took it upon myself. I was thinking I can still write. So I took that listening upon myself. I started listening every day. So when I got to the exam hall, I was like, everything she was saying, I've already heard them before.
Why Nigerians come into trouble? Because number one thing you can get is quality education. If you can get quality education here and you don't feel like traveling out, you're good. But the point is that whatever you can do as a young person, try to get what? Good quality education. Education that can incentivize you to stand among your mates anywhere and have intellectual discussions. There are situations where you see, back then in secondary school, I used to see some people who some kind of discussion, they were talking about world wars, they were talking about things that I didn't have knowledge about, and I'll be lost. In that kind of environment, you will not be able to socialize, right? But if you get quality education, you find out that if there are ideas to share, that's what education does for us. If there are ideas to share, as somebody is talking about something, you have contribution. So anything you can do, try to get quality education. Language proficiency. In the US, they will tell you to bring TOEFL or IELTS. But most countries in the world will ask you for IELTS. Australia will ask you for IELTS or PTE, right? But the most popular is So what is IELTS? It's a test that gives people, for instance, you are from Nigeria. There's another person applying from maybe Japan, and they are all coming to an English-speaking country to study. Now, there needs to be a criteria to judge whether both of them, right, can learn in that language, and that is what the IELTS does. International English Language Testing System. International English Language Testing System. It's just English, although it requires some communication skills. You need to master some communication skills. But essentially what they test is that you can thrive socially and academically in an English-speaking community, like a university or wherever you live. The test is developed to provide a fair and accurate assessment of English language proficiency. Over 11,000 organizations accept IELTS. 11,000, including universities, including companies where you need to work, embassies, over 11,000 in 140 countries. So it's a widely accepted test.
I want to ask about this requirement you need to meet up with, you listed here.
Yes.
What if, let me take example with, you were able to pass 4 of them.
No, 3.
Okay, 3.
Yes, yeah.
You were able to pass 4 of them, and you didn't get, let me use the reading part very well.
Yes.
Yes, maybe if your score is low in the reading part, will they still take such result?
Okay, thank you. We request that you provide a minimum for each of the skills. For instance, provide a minimum of 6.5 or 6.0, minimum of 6.0 in each of them, and an overall of 6.5. Do you understand that? So don't get less than 6 in this 4, but your overall should be 6.5. So what that means is that if you get less than a 6 in reading, then it won't work. If that school asks like that, and that's what most schools do. But there are some institutions that just want you, or visa applications, they just want you to bring an IELTS score. Anyhow, just bring an IELTS. But I recommend that when you prepare for IELTS, seek to get at least a 6.5 in each of the modules for postgraduate studies, for undergraduate studies, right? Again, it's not a big deal. To get a 6.5 in reading means out of 40 questions, just score 28. You're good.
Applying pesticides on beans. So, beans is one of the common crops being planted by many farmers in Nigeria, and also the most popular and common food eaten by Nigerians. And research have shown that in these beans we eat, there are some pesticide residues which get into the beans we eat today. And all this is, the process is when applying this chemical in the farm. And how did this get into the beans? I'm going to tell you how it gets into the beans from the farm. So, in the process of the time of planting beans, which is normally on during August and September, and is mostly likely to you can still plant it by October, depend on the type of beans you want to plant. So it has not been that farmers now decide to choose any chemical that can be linked to them without even knowing the effect of the chemicals. And the reason why they apply these chemicals in the beans is that it's because of the diseases or bacteria which affect beans plants.
There's a Okay, bruises you can cause or go through like slapping, punching, so on. Then the mental health, it's okay. There's something called PTSD. Okay, this is a situation in which an individual cannot recover what he or she has passed through, like maybe went for an event but you cannot remember. It also causes depression, fear, anxiety, and that's all. Then for the reproductive health, there's physical and sexual abuse have important harms as reproductive health consequences, either directly through risks incurred by forced sex or indirectly through psychological.
Male gender, about gender-based violence is very important. I want to use myself as an example. One day I was in the car and this guy that I don't know from anywhere was trying to touch me in a way that was very inappropriate. I had to correct him, and the fact that I corrected him, he didn't even argue, means he knew what he was doing. He expected me to accept it, but because I did, he just quietly refused. He just quietly took the correction. So there's a need to actually educate the male gender about it, because most of them think that girls want to do it, they want to have sex, or they want to be touched, and it's not the case.
The girls are not the one assaulting themselves, it's the male. So I just like she said, that's what I know, that mixed schools or even boys' school, right from even your younger ones, you see them in children. It starts from there. How they try to bully girls because they are boys. I am a boy. I can do and do as in. Who are you? What are you? It starts from there. So and to bring confidence, what you want to do in girls' school is very important. So for girls to start from their right. Most girls, they already know that they are weak, so they take into whatever comes their way. Thank you.
I think I just want to add this way. I was going to protest when you started anyway, but you said your topic and discussion is strictly to, because I know even the male counterparts are also assaulted. Yes.
Yes.
Yes, they force them to do what they don't want to do at some point. And also their lives also have been threatened. You said you want to eradicate. I don't know how possible totally that is going to be, because we have a system of culture. You understand, like you have mentioned earlier, that some people feel the women are relegated even to just to the other room or the kitchen, as our boo-boo we call her. Something happened some times ago when I picked one of my colleagues on our way to work, and I told him, sometimes I'll just tell my wife, just sit down, we'll go to the kitchen, and then he looked at me, he said, God forbid. He said, that is not possible. I looked at him, I said, where are you from? In this 21st century that we're living in. You know, so it's very important that advocacy is key. Even the women themselves also need to know their rights. If she was afraid of that guy that touched her, he would see it as an advantage as well to do it to another person. And the 35 gender affirmative or whatever they call it, yes. I think the women also need to stand up to their rights as well, because mostly they are always trampled upon, and because of their gender they tend to also show that away. I think you need to take your stand, know what is good for you, and then you push hard even towards it. Today, a lot of men will not want to marry a woman that will just keep at home and just bring me food, my water and all that. They want somebody that can also communicate and engage with. You understand? And also be productive. I think if we're able to also achieve some of those things, and even your own women folks as well are also culprits in this act as well.
Is it after you eat peppery food? Is it before you eat peppery food? Do you have heartburn? They ask a lot of questions. How many of us have gone to the hospital before? They ask you questions. So, if a deaf person obviously that can't hear comes to the doctor and the person can sign that's using sign language but the doctor doesn't understand sign language, is useless because the doctor will not understand the patient. The patient will not understand the doctor. It's just futile. And then another of my objective is to make sure that ensure that deaf patients are properly diagnosed anytime they go to the hospital. And this also, another objective is to create a meeting platform for both parties to meet so that they can meet up and solve issues and solve their problems. How would I do this? I would do this by with the creation of Google Forms for doctors to fill in to understand now, to answer these questions. What is the present state of communication between deaf patients and doctors in Nigeria presently, and what they think can be the solution, and if they are willing to learn sign language. And also reaching out to relevant stakeholders like NGOs that are in direct contact with the deaf community. Suggestions like how the solutions I see this project trying to create, or to create rather, is to create a platform for deaf patients and doctors to meet.
The objective of this project is to uncover the various factors undermining agricultural produce through literature reviews and field studies in Abuja. To identify more factors of extreme climate change in Abuja, to examine the erosivity and fertility of agricultural soil in Abuja, to predict future effect of climate change on agricultural produce via climatic variables such as rainfall, sunshine, air pressure, wind speed in Abuja, to improve agricultural produce in Abuja through physical, electronic, and passive means of information, such as media tract, flyers, community outreaches, and school climate club meetings. To the local farmers, educating them on the effect of their activities on the planet, on the climate, and suggesting other user-friendly alternatives for agricultural practice against the adverse effect of climate, in order to avoid future further loss. This is the method I'm going to adopt in achieving this, in taking out this project. I made a full chart of it. I told you through literature review. I'm going to do my literature review on this. Then I go for field survey, asking the farmers questions on things I need to know about my research. Then I take out an edaphic study. Edaphic study, that's soil study. Climate change parameters, those are the rainfall, wind, pressure of Abuja. Remember I told you my case study is Abuja. And thirdly, I sensitize people on climate change, majorly the farmers and other inhabitants of Abuja. Then finally I come up with my result, which is improved
environment they emit dangerous gases necessary. So to achieve health for all, everybody's at risk, but there are some people that are more vulnerable to others. So there's between 2010 and 2050, climate change is expected to cause 250 additional deaths. But in USA and other countries, Nigeria signed into the Paris Agreement, but I don't know, they are trying. But they are trying to, the US, their aim is to get a net zero emission at 2050. I don't think in Nigeria that will be possible because we are still the gas every day. No, let's look at the side. So I urge you all to join the climate change crisis. Climate change crisis. What we do in climate change, we all have to in our individual spaces. The little we can do, we can contribute to stopping the climate change. Yeah. So thanks for watching, and please subscribe to KELIC YouTube video to watch more educative videos. That's like